Hi students, the purpose of this video is to teach you the basics about the machine and get you to drive the machine today. So I'm going to show you a little bit about it and then we'll show you how to sew. On the side of the machine right here, you'll see your power button that turns on your machine. So you should have a light that turns on here and a light that turns on here. You also have two cords. One goes to your foot pedal, which is down below your table. It looks like this. And one goes to your power outlet. Make sure if your machine doesn't turn on that everything's plugged in. That's usually the problem. I want to show you that when you push down on the pedal with your foot, not your hands, it's going to take the machine a little bit to warm up and then it will start to go. It's just one of the quirks of this machine. Something that also makes the machine turn and move is the hand wheel, which is this right here. So as I turn the hand wheel, you can see my needle moving up and down. So there's two ways to move your needle, your hand wheel and your foot pedal. I've moved my foot pedal so that it's underneath my table where it's comfortable, but while I'm not sewing, I'm going to keep my feet flat on the floor and not hovering over the pedal. I don't want your fingers to be close to the needle and you accidentally slip and fall on the pedal and cut yourself. So the rest of the stuff in the machine, we're going to hide for now because you don't really need to know it. Just so we know how to learn how to drive the machine, there's a few things that we do need to know. One is the hand wheel, which I've already shown you. The second is your presser foot, which raises up and down. This right here is your presser foot. I'm going to move my hand wheel so I can move my needle up. This right here is your presser foot. I know it's kind of hard to see. I'll move it to the side so you can see a little bit better. That's your presser foot. The idea behind the presser foot is it presses down on your fabric. It always needs to be down when you're sewing. If you try to sew it with it up, you won't have any grip and you will definitely mess up and your machine won't like you. Right, so this back here is your presser foot lifter right here. The presser foot lifter needs to be handled gently. So please go through the machine like this, around the machine like this, but please do not go over the machine. If you go over the machine, there's a good chance you're going to make this noise, and it's really loud and eventually it hurts the machine, so please be gentle as much as possible. Finally, I know it's kind of hard to see, but underneath the presser foot is something called the feed dogs. When I press down on my foot pedal, you can see that my needle's moving, but you can also kind of see just barely right down there that the feed dogs are moving. And as they move, they're going like this. They're going up and down and back and forth. So essentially, when I put my paper in, or in your case fabric, depending on what you're working on, I'm going to keep my hands off. I'm going to keep them up here so you can see them. You can see that without my hands, the machine and the feed dogs is pulling the fabric, or in this case, paper, for me. It's not doing a great job. My goal with my hands is to keep it so that the fabric is going straight. So that's my goal. I want to show you this so that I'm showing you that the fabric or the paper is going to be pulled by the machine and you don't have to push the fabric or push the paper to make it go forward. For this challenge, I'm asking you to do two things. The first is to sew on the line and the second is to sew off the line, and there's two specific ways I want you to do that, so I'm going to show you. The first is to sew on the line. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up one of the lines with my needle and making sure I can just practice going straight. The whole goal of this is to practice your pace. So I'm going to hold my hands on either side of the needle, never in front of the needle, or in some cases I like holding down below, or a combination of both. So you'll practice and find what works for you and what doesn't. Notice that my hands are not pushing the fabric through. I'm letting the machine do its thing. I want you to practice finding a speed that works for you. Some of you can go very fast, and some of you will need to go slow. But you need to be able to control it and be able to finish exactly where you intend. So you can kind of tell how good or bad a piece is based on the back. Now you can see that I got a little fast right there and it doesn't look as good. But this is what you're aiming for, is nice even stitches that look just like this. Again, this doesn't look so great. Here are a few things that people do to mess up. They hold on really tight. So I call those control freaks. I also have folks who are kind of control freaks as well. They're speed demons and they like to push the fabric through. In either case, you can see that those don't look right. Here's our control freak who's holding on too much, and here's our speed demon who's pushing too much. Again, this is our goal right here. The second thing I want you to practice, and it's in the instructions up at the top, is I want you to practice going off the line. That doesn't just mean putting your paper anywhere. It specifically means taking one of the lines and lining it up with the edge of the presser foot. I know it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to shut off my light so you can see it. But you can see from right here that I've taken a line and I've lined it right up here with the edge of the presser foot. Never when you sew will you just sew randomly anywhere. You always use your presser foot or another measurement to figure out where you're sewing. So I'm going to turn my machine back on and I'm going to show you what that looks like. I kind of give you a good angle. I'm at a bad angle though. All right. I went really fast, but we'll see how good it is. I'm going to lift up my presser foot, my needle's up. So there's my second line that I just did. It's maybe a little fast for what I can do, but my stitches are nice and even. So that's what I want you to practice for this particular sheet. This sheet is what I call the maze. And the goal for you on this sheet is to go all the way around the box. And I want you to control where you stop. So you can't just guess, right? On this one, if you mess up, it's not that big of a deal. But on this one, we want you to stop right in that corner. And I want you to do a specific thing when you turn on that corner. And I'm going to show you here in just a second. Turn the machine so it's easier for me to see. I'm going to cheat a little bit and start closer to the end. When you get to a corner, actually going to see if I can shut off my light. Yep. When you get to a corner, I want you to slow down, and you can either use your foot to put the needle down, or you can use your hand wheel. And I'm going to use my hand wheel in this case to try to put it as close to the corner as possible. Then I'm going to leave my needle down and pick up my presser foot. So here's my presser foot that goes up. But notice, because my presser foot is up and my needle is down, it's like pivoting in basketball. I always have a central spot that I can't leave. At no point while you're sewing do you want to pick up your presser foot and your needle. Bad things can happen. Once I've rotated my paper to where I want it to go, I can continue sewing. So it's a relatively simple concept, but a lot of students struggle on it because they go too fast, they don't take their time, or they don't follow the exact directions that I just told you. So here we go. I'm going to get close to the end. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to drop my needle down into the corner right there. Boom. Pick up my foot, pivot, and continue again. And you should be able to see a nice clean corner right there. That's what we're going for. Have fun and good luck.